Recording.
Now the meeting will come to order, please. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Fleming, Thunderberg, Levine, and Noonan present.
Thank you. This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I don't have any substantive opening remarks, simply to mention that unfortunately our general manager is unable to be with us today, and so not looking exactly like the general manager, we will rely on Dr. Adams to fill those shoes today.
I'll do my best.
We're going to take one item out of order before calling on the other reports and comments. Item 23, resolution honoring Brian Dickinson, commercial field representative, on completion of 40 years of department service and retirement. Who will be presenting this resolution?
Brian's manager, Greg Hornsby, will be
Okay,
making
terrific.
comments.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Greg Hornsby. I'm the Assistant Director for Customer Service. I'm one of Brian Dickinson's managers. Brian? Brian and I have done this before. I was fortunate enough to present him with his 35-year pin, so I'm grateful to help you all with this. Brian started as a meter reader in August of 1973. He was promoted to commercial field representative in 1984. His starting pay as a meter reader was $4.17 per hour. Wow. He served on various employee safety committees throughout his career and was always concerned about the safety of his fellow workers. He was a mentor and teacher to a generation of commercial field representatives from 1984 until his retirement in 2013. He came to work every day and performed his duties without resolve. He did not miss a day out sick from 1986 until his retirement. He's a decorated war veteran and was injured serving our country in the Vietnam War. And I'm proud to present you with the proclamation today.
Brian, congratulations. On behalf of the board, I can say that you're emblematic of the wonderful people who work here, and we're very, very proud of you, and we salute your service, as well as your service to our country. Thank you. Why don't we, maybe if you guys can come up, we'll get a picture up here.
Come around this way.
Yeah, come around.
Oh, thanks.
Scoot over some more. Actually, well, you know what? Actually, sure, come on. Yep. Let me get you on Bill's side. Or actually, yeah, I'm sorry. Let's get you over here. Let's get Christine over next to Bill. Sorry. Let's get you back over here. Sorry. Much better. There we go.
Okay. This is artistic.
Okay. Just put it back on now. Very nice. Okay. Okay. Here's the first one. Big smile right here. Yeah. Very nice. Here we go again. That's good. Go again. And one last. Very nice. Big smile. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, and thank you very much.
If you allow me to mention that Water and Power allowed me to buy the house, and I put my oldest through UCLA. She's now a deputy district attorney for LA County.
Wow.
And my youngest I put to USC.
Wow.
And she got her graduate degree at NYU, and now she's a professor.
Fantastic.
So Water and Power have been very nice to me.
Oh, that's great. Very, very. Thank you again, and congratulations again. And you even allowed your daughter to become a lawyer. Not everyone views that as a step up. Some of us do. Thanks again, and congratulations. Does the interim general manager have a report or briefing for the meeting?
We do need a vote for the resolution, Mr. Dickinson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I move support of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimously approved. Thank you. Mr. Adams?
I just have one very brief comment. The governor's put his new mandate in place for water conservation to achieve 25% savings throughout the state. With that, the city of Los Angeles has a 16% obligation. So yesterday was the day that we started counting. So it's a 9-month period that the governor's had a set of sights on. So beginning yesterday was the first day that we're in this new compliance period. So we will be bringing you as regular updates as possible. We hopefully our 2-day-a-week watering that we put in that is becoming part of the city ordinance. We can hold off on that. We're still at 3-day-a-week right now with asking people to voluntarily go to 2-day-a-week. Our conservation levels have been very good, but we will be tracking that to see if we do need to make any changes, and if we do, they would be best started from this board. So we'll try to keep you as apprised as possible on as often a basis as we can.
We will look forward to your updates.
Thank you.
And operate under the assumption that they will be moved toward successful implementation.
We want to make sure that we meet our goals and stay in the governor's good graces.
We all want that. Comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations.
My only request, it's not that I have questions about item number 20, but I do think it would serve the public.
We're going to pull it from the agenda,
Oh,
from
you
the
are?
consent calendar.
I didn't know that.
Just in anticipation of the rest of your sentence. Do we have any public comment cards, Barbara?
Not for item 4, no.
Okay. Comments from ratepayer advocate on agendized items.
I will have comments on the items as they come up. There'll be a couple items.
Thank you. Okay, item number 6, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion? Of May 19th. Second, those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
They are approved. We're going to pull item 20 from the consent calendar. Are there any other items between items 7 and 22 on the consent calendar which any commissioner would like removed? Is there a motion to approve items 7 through 19 and 21 and 22? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
They are approved. Okay, we will begin with item 20.
20 was deferred.
Just on item 20, part of the reason we wish to pull it was just to make sure we received an additional comment letter from Great Basin and make sure that that's added to the record. And we're prepared to make a presentation or answer the Commissioner's questions.
Commissioner, you have any questions you want to put on item 20?
I'm confused because okay. Well, yeah, I think it definitely would serve the public to have a presentation on Owens Valley. Obviously, this is a very large amount of money. We have spent so many hundreds of millions of dollars in Owens, and I really think that it would serve the public to know what we're doing to address these mitigation costs while trying to conserve water at the same time, and how we have been able to make some progress in that regard. So whether it's today or at the next board meeting, I really think that this information would be very educational to the public.
Let's do it now.
Good morning. I'm Chuck Holloway. I'm manager of the Environmental Assessment and Planning Group. And I've got a brief overview of what we're presenting today, both the environmental impact report for certification and then project approval for your consideration as well.
Good.
I think it's this one here. Oops. So I've got the wrong one. I think I need some help, Reggie.
Here we go.
I think that's it.
Yes.
Okay, this is Owens Lake. It was the 2011 and 2012 supplemental control requirements. It was ordered by Great Basin Air Pollution Control District to control dust on a number of dust control areas on the Owens Lake. We refer to it as Phase 9 and 10. And on this map, the area's in red, and it is we're proposing to control dust using BACM, best available dust control measures, 3 of them, and they would be the areas in red. The project objective is, as I just mentioned, use best available control measures to meet the requirements of the 2011 and 12 SCRDs issued by Great Basin, and to also satisfy the terms of the 2014 stipulated judgment, which laid out a number of milestones and things for completing the project. The major settlement project milestones had some financial consequences if we did not meet the milestones, and we're here today ahead of schedule with presenting the environmental impact report to you guys for consideration. And then the next major milestone would be actually implementation of the dust control measures, and we have till the end of 2017. And basically the dust control measures are managed vegetation, the use of gravel, and also shallow flooding. And each one of those have different implementation deadlines, but the ultimate deadline is 2017. There's a CEQA schedule. You know, we've had a number of public and scoping meetings and a public meeting during the public review period for the draft. And we're here today asking you to consider the EIR and project for approval. The major comments that were received were regarding biological resources and cultural resources. The biological resources really kind of centered around maintaining habitat value on the lake as a result of some of the past dust controls, shallow flooding stuff. We've established some bird habitat and some other important habitat for various species, and to maintain those as we continue to move forward with dust control. The cultural resources, we ended up with 13 sites that were determined to be sensitive cultural resource sites, and we, through that settlement agreement, if we had an independent archaeologist also agree with our findings, that they would be removed from the order and then presented to this task force. We have a cultural resource task force made up with some of the stakeholders and Native Americans in the area to see how we would control dust on those areas and minimize impacts to the resources.
And where does that stand now?
Well, that's really why we asked to pull it off the consent agenda. Was Great Basin, the independent archaeologist concurred with 9 of the 13 sites. 4 of the sites, when you're doing cultural resource surveys, there's what they call a phase 1 survey, which is a pedestrian survey. You don't really look subsurface. And then the phase 2, you go out, if you believe that it is a sensitive resource or site, you do shovel testing and dig these various pits to try to find out if it is really a sensitive site, and the boundaries. And 4 of those sites, just from doing the pedestrian surveys, they determined that they were eligible for the National Historic Register. The independent archaeologist said, well, he kind of concurred, but he would have liked to have had more information. So Great Basin says, well, we're going to pull 9 of them. The other 4, and that's the letter we just received that we want into the record, says we'll conditionally remove those, but you have to do further evaluation. And so what we're presenting for project approval today has all 13 sites removed okay, and avoid it at this time. And then if it's determined after the further evaluation that we need to add them back in, they were evaluated in the EIR, and I think that an addendum to the EIR, which we'd present to this board, would adequately allow us to move forward with that if needed.
Will we remain with the same archaeologist then? We're just giving him more time to do more due diligence, or?
Well, what they're doing is, it's getting a little bit complicated. Two of the 4 sites are on BLM land, and BLM feels that we do have enough information. Great Basin feels we don't, and we're working trying to resolve that. And as we're doing that, we're moving forward to get the approvals from State Lands Commission to go ahead and do the other 2 sites, and we'll do some shovel test pits. We believe that they will be determined that they are sensitive sites and need to go to the next step to this Cultural Resource Task Force.
One last question. I know that you said we're ahead of schedule with the 2017 deadline. Given all of these issues that have arisen, do you think that's going to set us back? Are we going to have some leeway in case we can't make the 2017 deadline?
Well, when I said we're ahead of schedule, we are regarding presenting the environmental impact report to you folks. If it doesn't get approved today, we still have till July 1st. The construction, we're doing everything we can for design and procurement and everything, and everything leads us to believe we are going to meet the schedule. Now, these 13 sites, once they're removed from the order, there is no deadline for those. And so the rest of the sites, we should be able to remain on schedule and meet the schedule. Now, those other 13, the way it has worked in the past, it's presented to the Cultural Resource Task Force. They will either come back, and in the past, they usually recommend avoidance. And so it's what Great Basin has done is said that they'll take a wait-and-see approach to see if we control dust around these areas, and that maybe these sites are small enough that they will no longer be emissive if the areas around them are controlled by us. And so, and if they're determined that they still are emissive, that would be a separate order on a separate schedule.
Got it.
And basically is what we're going to do ultimately is we will have dust control on a little over 3 square miles. And then, as I said, we're presenting the project today, avoiding those significant cultural resources. And this project will also enhance some wildlife habitat. And we're also, and it's just a byproduct, but it's going to actually reduce the cost by about $13 to $15 million by avoiding those 300 acres. And that's the end of the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you guys have.
Thank you. Other questions?
I guess just talking about the last phases that we've addressed and creatively addressing alternate ways to deal with the mitigation but save water. Are we implementing any of those strategies in this phase?
Yes.
Okay.
Is what it is in addition to the order, these additional areas, we have some areas that we're transitioning, where we currently have shallow flood, where we're using water, we're transitioning to areas that use less or no water for dust control. Some tillage with a flooding back them if needed. And then we're also on a separate path, and this board will be presented with an EIR in about a year, where we're looking at the entire lake. See, up to this point, it's been piecemeal. We get an order, we react. We get another order, we react. Now we're looking at all 50 square miles plus, 50 plus, and how we're going to control dust, reducing the amount of water, and still maintain habitat and other things. And that's kind of a separate issue, a separate global kind of approach.
Good morning. I guess still good morning. My name is Milad Tegavi. I'm the manager of the Owens Lake Planning. Just like to add Mr. Chuck Holloway's answer that yes, we are doing that. Commissioner Noonan, what we're doing, we're transitioning, as Mr. Holloway indicated, to make sure that the water is neutral. And so we're implementing gravel on majority of the area, so it's non-water dust control. And the areas that, because of the soil conditions, there is no other options available, we're going to be saving some water from a transition area on one particular pond and using it in the other area. The pond that we're going to take the water from is going to shrink, and about from 1.8 square miles of shallow flood to about 1 square miles, and that 0.8 square miles would be gravel. Then again, no water for that area. So we're making sure that at least as we move forward, your board directives are implemented, and we are using more less water or non-water approaches.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for the report,
Thank you.
especially on short notice. Item 21, no, I'm sorry, item 23, we've done. Item 24, there's a speaker card on item 24, Barbara?
Yes, the speaker is Bill Cochran.
Yeah.
And just please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bill Corcoran. I'm the Western Director for the Sierra Club's Beyond Coal campaign based here in Los Angeles, and I came here today to just make general comments in support of LADWP's continued plans to decrease and eliminate its offtake of power from the Intermountain Power Project. The plant poses significant legal and financial risks going forward to the utility, and it makes ample sense to make a planned transition that allows you to take advantage of the DC line that you have to build out a suite of clean energy solutions that will be both an economic benefit to the state of Utah in a transition, but also set up this utility well with flexible and renewable generation for a new grid as you go forward building that. And ultimately to seek a retirement of that unit as part of the transition to ensure that LA's legacy is one that's cleaned up the waste at the plant, removed this source of carbon pollution, and built the new generation of supplies the city needs, both for its customers and to address climate disruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So item 24 is the second amendatory power sales contract, renewal power sales contract, and renewal excess power sales contract. Mr. Webster.
Good morning. My name is Mike Webster. I am director of our Power and Fuel Purchase Division. And so I'd like to open by saying that we are here to present some renewable agreements that continue our leadership to reduce greenhouse gas emissions significantly from our generation portfolio. Now, IPP has been operating for 30 years as a joint project with 36 municipalities, some in Utah, some in Southern California, and we've been working together on this project for the benefit of our customers. And it's really significant, especially to our stakeholders and a lot of our policymakers, because when 36 municipalities work together on a project that benefits customers, it does make a big statement as far as the value of municipal power. And so what we've done here is we have negotiated an agreement that would allow for the extension of the project for 50 years with clean natural gas or some sort of an alternative. But equally important is that we've also negotiated to eliminate the take of coal at least 2 years early from the project. So let me give you a little bit of background on IPP. There's tremendous assets at IPP. Currently there's 2 units, 1,800 megawatts in total of coal-fired generation. We have a significant share of that. We get 1,200 megawatts. It makes up between about 25% of our portfolio today. There's switch yards, there's converter stations, there is AC transmission and DC transmission, rail car facilities, a microwave communication system, and land and water rights. Water rights being very, very important. Now, the important thing to know is that we don't own these assets. The state of Utah owns these assets through the Intermountain Power Agency. However, we have rights to use these assets through our power purchase agreements. And through divesting, you saw this not too long ago, but you'll see that in 2016, we reduced our carbon footprint immensely with the divestment of Navajo. But in 2025, we completely eliminate our coal-fired generation. And this is what we're talking about today. So by going 2 years early, we eliminate 5.3 million metric tons of carbon from the atmosphere by moving early. And if we move earlier, we remove more carbon. So it is a collaborative effort, and it is made up of 6 Southern California municipalities and 30 Utah municipalities. We cannot unilaterally change this agreement. We have to get all 36 to agree to allow for a repowering project moving forward. If we don't work together, we don't have rights to the transmission system to repurpose it. We don't have rights to the land. So we think that moving together to repurpose so that we can make use of that tremendous investment is important. IPA can only offer this non-coal renewal if the parties agree, and we are starting to see that agreement. Riverside has just approved theirs. We see Burbank and Glendale and Pasadena moving the month of June to approve this agreement. So all the municipalities are moving to approve. And we've come to enjoy the benefits of this baseload generation, and we can plan to continue that in the future. But here's really the key slide, is why would we want to build at IPP? Well, number one is we've been paying for this power for 30 years, and that investment in the transmission, in land, in the facilities are investments we would like to take advantage of in the future. So we wouldn't want those investments to go to a power market or any other entity. So by us repowering the future, we get to make use of that tremendous investment that we've made in the transmission. The DC transmission, it needs a generator to operate at full capacity. So you can't not do anything and have the DC operate at full, so we need something there. We also have renewables already in the area. So in and around IPP, we have currently 300 megawatts of wind and the potential for more. So we use this transmission, so it's important that we continue to have access to that transmission. And we've done this in such a way that it's not going to be 1,800 megawatts, but only 1,200, so it frees up more transmission so we can do more renewables in the area. And so long term, we see tremendous benefits to LA. So some of the details of the renewal contracts is that it will be repowered by July 1, 2025. However, if all the participants agree, it could go earlier. And it really depends on how everyone develops their integrated resource plans and what the project actually turns into down the road. It's going to be much smaller than what we have today, significantly reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and make room to use those resources for other renewables and other technologies. The third bullet is very significant because while we've backstopped this project with 1,200 megawatts of natural gas, it doesn't have to be 1,200 megawatts of natural gas. So over the course of the next couple of years, we'll be talking about different technologies. Should it be combined cycle? Should it be combustion turbines? Should there be storage? And we can make this a storage park where renewables can be integrated in more effectively. And should there be some renewables in this? This is a decision that the participants will be working through over the course of a couple of years. Also, we have these agreements provide funds for the decommissioning of the coal units, which is significant looking forward, and we have the resource until 2077 if we move forward. So there's 4 agreements. The first agreement is the second mandatory power sales contract. This gives the Intermountain Power Agency the ability to offer us a long-term renewal that is non-coal. This is what it has to happen first by all 36 participants. The next agreement, we're asking for delegated authority on the renewal power sales agreement. And what that is the opportunity to sign up for the project. How much of the project does each participant want? And if there's remaining shares, do other participants want to step in? So this is over the course of 6 months. We'll be going through several rounds to determine what LADWP's share in this project is going to be. There's an agreement for the sale of excess power. So this is renewable power. For example, if Utah participants sign up and they decide, we don't need the power today, would LA, DWP, or others like to buy that power? And that's the excess power that could become available that we purchase on a power purchase agreement. And the last agreement is that Pacific Corp, we currently purchase their 4% of the project, but they're going to be completely out of the project. So our share doesn't change, except that Pacific Corp is out, and the structure is now we just buy that 4% like we've been doing for the last 20 years. No change, except Pacific Corp is out. We don't have a side agreement with them anymore. And so, in summary, we are significantly reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. It allows us to repurpose the Southern Transmission System for other technologies like renewables. We can integrate renewables much more effectively. But because we're going through a process of defining the project in detail, is we plan to keep the board briefed about every 6 months on our progress of defining those details and how the project is shaping up in collaboration with all 36 participants as we move forward. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
First, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have one question. Is there any reason to believe that any of the 35 other participants would not be cooperative?
Well, currently, once Southern California participants approve, and they've all committed that they are moving forward with approval, we believe that the Utah participants will also reapprove. Some will need to go to their boards, some will not. So right now, we think that once California approves, this project will get done.
Are there other questions?
I do.
After you. Commissioner Noonan.
Oh, thank you. I applaud the direction that we're going in to remove ourselves from using coal. However, I'd like to know, why are you suggesting that we extend the term of this project to 2077? That seems like a very, very far ways out, and especially since you're not committing to any definitive costs. So I really feel weary about committing the department that amount of time without knowing what the cost would be. Can't we just have like an interim understanding and support this direction but not commit to the year 2077?
So the 2077 comes from the original IPA agreements when we were purchasing coal. So when this project was 4 units, we did not have an extension. And when the project was downsized from 4 units to 2 units, we negotiated the ability to extend out into the future. And at that time, it was envisioned that it would be a coal plant, and a coal plant has about a 50-year life. And that's why it was a 50-year extension. So what we're doing is we've reconfigured that renewal that says it won't be a coal plant offer, it'll be a natural gas plant offer. But it was still a 50 years commitment. Now, one of the benefits of 50 years is that then you know it's part of your resource portfolio for the long term. And this is especially important related to transmission. You've heard me say many times when we were looking at renewables how we've repurposed the northern transmission that goes up to BPA territory when that was strictly for the purpose of hydropower and the shipment of coal north. We repurposed that to renewables. And in the Southwest, we repurposed that transmission to renewables. So by holding on to that transmission for 50 years, it gives us the ability to reconfigure many times over what that project might be down the road. Do I believe that a gas plant will be there for 50 years? Highly unlikely. Gas plants have a 25 to 30-year life. So chances are we'll be able to repower again, but at least we have control of the asset and it can't be sold to somebody else. That's why we have that long-term commitment. Now, as far as the cost, this is very important, and because if I could tell you today this is the project, I could give you the cost. But because we have to go through a process of all agreeing to what this project looks like, we have to do the environmental analysis, the technical analysis, and really each entity has to decide what's right for their integrated resource plan. So we may come back to you over the course of the next 2 years with updates and say, you know what, this project needs to be a 600 megawatt quick start unit, and it needs to have storage, and we need a combination of storage. Maybe it's compressed air and battery storage because they serve different purposes. And what we want to do with this property back here is actually put a solar park in there so that we can integrate that technology effectively and make it a renewable energy hub. At that time, we'll know what those costs are, and that's why we intend to come back to the board. And you have to approve it. If we change the project, you have to approve what that technology is, and the council will have an opportunity, if they choose to do so to approve that at that time. But that's about 2018.
That's incredibly helpful. So basically, we're just really giving you the blessing to continue negotiations with the intention of keeping this as a long-term asset to benefit
Yeah, the
Angeles.
technical negotiations at this point.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Funderburk?
Yeah, the only comment that I have, I've made, and congratulations also on not just this, but Navajo. I think it's one of the things that we have strived for over the past few years, and much more before we came on board here to make this happen. So I think you and Nancy, everybody, to make this happen was great. I would just make sure that, and I'd like to be informed as we were with Navajo, where we are transacting or swapping out parts or shares or anything changes in our position in this project, that we be given a fairness opinion on what our alternatives are to deploy this significant asset, because it is a lot, and I just want to make sure that we're aware of the alternatives at every step of the way, even if they're not as feasible as to what we can do with the, well, it sounds like a lot of parties to get concurrence with, too, no matter how collegial the relationship is. And I don't know if Utah's laws or their mandates are different that drive their requirements a little differently, but it would be nice to have, it would be nice to have a lot of solar and a lot of storage using these transmission lines. So, so I would just say that the next time you come back, if there has been anything to change the outlook on how what our position is going to look like in this project, that in anticipation of getting board approval for that, that we be given some type of fairness opinion as to what the other options were. Thanks.
Yeah, we can do that.
Dr. Pickle?
When this first was before the council in 2013, there was a motion passed council that required us to report back jointly, DWP and the Office of Public Accountability, on the alternatives annually as this evolves. And we're in communication and working on that effort. The most recent analytical effort was DWP's integrated resource plan. And as the project alternatives become more specific, we'll be able to offer opinions going forward, and the requirement is at least annually.
Good. Other questions or comments before there's a motion? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 25, Amendment 1 to Agreements 47210A, B, C, 47212A, B, C, 47213A, B, C, for technical and administrative services to support integrated resource plan projects.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm John Dennis. I'm the Director of Power System Planning and Development. And this morning I just have 9 slides to highlight the action that's before you today and to simply explain what is it, how are we using it, what changed, and how are we controlling it. And I believe that addresses some of the questions and interests you've expressed earlier as we gave a summary and oversight of this. In sum, this particular agreement for professional services in the amount not to exceed $59 million was for a term of 3 years and 3 specific categories for some subject matter expertise services that we do not have with our in-house services to meet the growing needs of our power system and meeting some of the compliance goals that are before us. And in this summary of this particular work, we've identified 3 categories of those services that were anticipated our particular need. And at that time, when the request for proposal was conceived back in 2013, we identified approximate dollar amounts for each of those categories for our development services, for our transmission and generation services, and then what we call our owner's representative services. And those would be some specialty or subject matter expertise to help us execute large projects. So this particular slide number 4 just describes how the particular agreement is being used and the particular tasks. We have 17 specific tasks that have been issued and the dollar amount for each one of those. Also at the bottom are the dollars that are committed for all those cumulative for the tasks, and then the dollars that are remaining in each category. Slide number 5 just gives a description as far as the way, the process, how a task is conceived. The power engineering managers or the manager oversight takes a look at those particular tasks that are needed. They review those for the purpose, objective, making sure that they're very clear deliverable products and the evaluation criteria. Those particular tasks are submitted in a public way for the proposed vendors to bid on those, and they're evaluated for cost, capacity, and their capability. And then we work closely with our supply chain services to make sure we follow those rules in the awarding of those individual tasks to the various vendors. So where are we now? What changed, I think, as far as this particular question? Well, as we said, that the professional services agreement was conceived and initiated in 2013. This board approved it in 2014 of April 1st. And since then, and with primarily, we see since that period of time of April 1st, some major changes have been underway with energy storage, demand response, renewable energy, penetration studies, and then our recent, the mayor's announcement of a sustainability plan with some growing interest of renewable energy. So all these changes since the award of the contract just put a bigger demand on specifically those Category 2 studies, those areas of transmission and generation. So primarily is that what we're proposing here today is to eliminate the cumulative not to exceed under each category of services performed to allow greater flexibility of those needs that are before us. We're not asking for any change in the total amount, no change in the duration, and all the other terms and conditions remain the same. And this slide here, number 9, just highlights how that's the proposed change to eliminate the cap under the different categories and still assuring that the total amount is not exceeded under each, in the total of the categories 1, 2, and 3 projects. In sum, we're just proposing to eliminate the cap on the individual categories to allow us to comply with the current and the growing number of mandates that are before us in the utility business. As we entered the 2015 calendar year, the state legislature opened with an unprecedented 228 energy bills that were for our consideration with energy to be dealt with. And while many of these may not move ahead fully, just we're mindful that we need to be responsive to our state and to our local governance to be responsive to there and have the expertise in hand to address those growing concerns. And so it's important that these services are available to us and that we're able to address those. As well, the other item in question that was before us was how are we controlling these particular tasks? And just a quick note on that is that we're controlling those that before we advertise those tasks, our engineering managers are reviewing those draft tasks to make sure we have the sufficient funds that are in the budget, to make sure we have the appropriate dollars there in each budget category, and that we have very specific deliverables. And we're making a real concerted effort, knowing for cost consciousness that these tasks that they deliver are standalone. They're very discrete work products that could be used by our people, as well as that if there's a future need, that it doesn't creep, but that others could potentially compete and bid on if there's any successive work that's necessary. So as well, then once those tasks are identified with very specific deliverables, we advertise those to those vendors who are listed on the list. They compete for those, and we evaluate those. So then in the execution of those tasks, we're tracking the specific deliverables, and then the final payment is made upon receipt of those deliverables. So as we reviewed this contract and looked back at it, bringing it before you, as we looked at those 17 tasks, there has been no single case of those tasks creeping, and also that each task has had a training component so that we help our employees to understand how to use the product that's there and understand that better, especially as we have a new and growing number of employees that are coming in and working in these particular areas. So in sum, the contract and agreement was conceived in 2013. It was approved in 2014, and we're just adapting to the system needs that are changing in 2015 and in the next 2 years that we expect. And I'm available. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to address those.
Thank you. Very helpful explanation. Questions?
I had a question.
Commissioner Funderburg?
Yes. Can you explain to me how the local contracting works, and works specifically in this particular procurement? Because trying to figure out the difference between what this good faith effort means and what is actually being done, both with the contractors and the subcontractors. Are we making, I couldn't figure out how much money is being kept here locally through this effort, and maybe you could help me out with that. Because there's a reference made to the local business credit that changed one company's rank from one to another, and I was less concerned about that than I was about are we keeping our money, are we doing the best we can and accounting for keeping our money local, especially where the items of service are not, particularly unique in this. So,
on one of those, let me see if I can address a portion of that. I may call on Gwen. I don't know if we have any particular items on there to catch you off guard on that particular one. Sorry about that, Gwen. But I do have in the appendix that's identified in there, we've identified under the specific categories, and those vendors, when they were evaluated, identified. So we have the 6 different vendors and how those dollars are being distributed to the different vendors. So there's kind of an equal sharing that's going across those. As far as the initial evaluation of those proposers, I don't know if you're prepared. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. When the original solicitation went out, it included the local business preference program requirement. So if anybody that was proposing on the contract was local and they're certified as being local, they get an 8% preference. So they would get, if you will, if they were getting, if the score had totaled 88 and they were a local business, they would get an additional 8 points for a score of 96. So the local business preference is put into use in the original solicitation of the vendors.
And that's still, is that still in place or not?
It is in place. We don't really use it on I don't think the task orders. They do the task orders.
So there is a listing, I believe in page 6 and such, of the particular agreement that has identified the local suppliers or the subcontractors that are supporting those particular tasks by the particular vendors.
I'm sorry, which page 6 is that?
Well, it identifies the names of the various subcontractors. It does not identify whether they're local or not.
Mm-hmm. And because this contract was in 2013, we changed our policy from this good faith to mandatory for the small business. Did this amendment, what rules govern this amendment? Because it looks like you're over the 5% small business in the...
It did include the SBE program.
It did.
But at that time, it wasn't a mandatory program. We kind of did that SBE program in a two-step process.
Mm-hmm.
We started off with just, kind of SBE goals when we adopted the program, and then we later went to a mandatory program. And I believe this contract was issued prior to the application of the mandatory program.
I would just like to get a look back in a couple of months as to how much we're spending locally from this particular one, and I'd like to, because it's sometimes the money gets lost. The prime says they're going to do something, and then they all of a sudden we're contracting in Sacramento or Nevada through subcontractors or whatever, and I just want to make sure that we're that goal and that mission that we've passed is upheld and accounted for.
We'll work together on that one.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we move to item 26, eminent domain public hearing proceedings. Beacon Solar Project, public hearing and adoption of resolution of necessity authorizing commencement of eminent domain proceedings to acquire 33 interest in mineral rights at the Beacon site in the vicinity of the community of Cantil in Kern County, California. We do have two public comments, but we'll first have the staff presentation and then we'll have public testimony.
Thank you. Craig Luna, Power System Planning and Development. This resolution before you of necessity is for the acquisition of reserved mineral rights over the 23-acre Beacon property. The department purchased this site in 2012 as a solar project, including all the land which we own outright. This action is only to secure the mineral rights which were reserved to previous owners of the properties and would guarantee that development will be secure from any disturbance by other outside interests. With outside developers now responsible for developing this site and for construction of the project, this will also provide some additional assurances so that they will be allowed to get financing from their lenders.
Okay.
Excuse me, Tim Chung with City Attorney's Office, and I can understand that the board is familiar with the process, but just for the benefit of the members of the public who are here,
If you could speak into the mic.
Sorry. Sorry, excuse me. I know that the board is familiar with the eminent domain process, but just for the benefit of the members of the public, I'd like to make a short presentation and just to explain that in order to initiate the eminent domain proceedings, the board must make 4 statutory findings that are listed in the resolution of necessity that are attached to your board packet. And those findings are specifically that 1, the public interest and necessity require the Beacon Solar project. 2, the project is planned or located in the manner that would be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. The mineral rights that are in the subject parcels are necessary for the Beacon Solar project, and that the offers for acquisition have been made to the owners of record in accordance with statutory requirements, or if the offers were not made, that the department did make reasonable diligence in trying to locate all of the property owners involved. In addition, the board is requested to find that the required environmental findings review of the project has been completed in accordance with CEQA, and that the final EIR certified by Kern County in September of 2012 and previously approved by the board in May 2014 is adequate coverage for the project. These findings must be based on the testimony and evidence received, including the information at this hearing, your board letter, the communications that were sent to the board prior to this meeting, and whatever responses are given to the board by staff. Also, as noted by Craig, there's one thing that we did need to mention on the resolution. The legal description attachment needs to have a clarification made. Those legal descriptions should clarify that the property to be taken specifically includes the mineral rights, and that those are part of what we are seeking to acquire today. The value of the mineral rights are not the subject of this hearing, but the mineral rights owners do retain all of their rights to seek greater compensation, and the department, even if the board adopts a resolution of necessity, is open to negotiating and continuing negotiations with the property owners. If the negotiations are not successful, it's at that point that the main process will move forward with deciding the compensation for the mineral rights. The affirmative vote of 2/3 of the board is required to adopt this, and at this time we would ask that the board take the public comment, and staff is here to respond if there are any questions.
Very good. Thank you. We will now take public testimony. Barbara?
Okay, the first speaker is Bob Rudnick, and he does have something he wanted to pass down to the board.
Good morning. Honorable President and Board of Water and Power Commissioners. This will supplement the letter sent to you written on my behalf by Attorney Timothy McCosker dated May 28, 2015. I own and control a portion of an approximately 85-acre property which is within the affected area and subject to your resolution. I believe some of you may have a copy of the supplemental letter that I filed with the board this morning. This supplemental letter serves as notice to the Board of Water and Power Commissioners and the Department of Water and Power that I object to the adoption of the resolution of necessity and expressly reserve any and all rights and arguments regarding this matter, including but not limited to whether A, the public interest and necessity require the project, B, the project is planned or located in the manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury, C, the properties identified sought to be acquired are necessary for the project, D, offers required by California Government Code Section 7267.2 have been made to the owners of record, or offers have not been made because the owners cannot be located with reasonable diligence, and E, the requisite environmental review for the project has been conducted consistent with the California Environmental Quality, CEQA. Nothing contained in this letter is intended, nor should it be deemed to constitute a waiver or relinquishment of any of my rights or remedies, whether legal or equitable, all of which are hereby expressly reserved. Apparently, your staff report was not available last week. As a result of reading it at this late date, I feel compelled to provide additional comments and input in connection with the facts stated in that report. The staff report provides some additional information on why LADWP is seeking to acquire our mineral rights. According to the staff report, the developer's lender is apparently concerned about the mineral rights holders' potential claim to service rights, which could displace portions of the Beacon Solar Plant. LADWP contends that the developer's lender is requiring the acquisition of our mineral rights. I object to the resolution of necessity because the acquisition of all mineral rights is not necessary for the project, and if necessary, the acquisition of all mineral rights is not compatible with the, quote, greatest public good and least private injury, end quote. Perhaps the LADWP should consider negotiating for the purchase of our surface rights, and if necessary, perhaps all minerals within the upper strata of the property, to ensure that the project is not affected by our mineral rights without necessitating the acquisition of all mineral rights.
Could you wrap up your remarks, please?
Yes, as to valuation of our mineral rights, it appears that the LADWP's appraiser consulted with a geologist to evaluate the potential for minerals on the property, who concluded, quote, there is no or very low potential for the occurrence of minerals deposits on these parcels, end quote. Apparently, the geologist did not consider the potential for water or whether water rights have any value. Now, it is our belief that we do have water rights attached to these minerals and a right of surface entry. And I believe that the present project as planned is tantamount to LADWP shooting itself in the foot. Just recently, I mean, this morning, talking to Craig Luna, we discussed that project, and we intend to discuss the matter with your water section.
Sir, your
It just
time is
seems-
up.
Pardon?
Your time is up, sir.
Let him finish.
Okay.
It seems to me, I mean, my family has been historically very connected to the desert. We farmed it. We pioneered it. We transferred the property to the Desert Tortoise people. I've been on committees for the West Mojave Plan, and it just seems to me, in view of this drought and in view of the undercapacity of the aqueduct, that there ought to be a way to accommodate your solar plan and also help provide much added water to Southern California.
Thank you very much.
So I would like to have this matter continued or taken off calendar. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Robert Hassels.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm an attorney, and I'm not speaking for or against the resolution of necessity. I just I'm one of the intestators of Claude Ilroy Households, and I'm representing a couple of the other Households family members who are intestators also. And one of the heirs presented me with a notice of this hearing last Thursday. So I wanted to send a letter in, and the purpose of me speaking is just to preserve our rights to negotiate. This goes to an eminent domain proceeding, and that we don't relinquish any of our rights to negotiate. That we are an interested party.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is that all of the public testimony, Barbara?
Yes, those were the only parts, and then we closed the public hearing.
Okay. Commissioners, questions, comments?
I think given the public commentary, it would be helpful for the mass public to have a little bit of an eagle's eye view on why this location was chosen. Also, I found the language a little bit confusing. In one sense, you state that the project site costs $96.2 million, and then there's another line where you say you bought the site for $32 million. So can you play out the economics? And I also looked at the estimates that hopefully if we are to reach agreements with the people who currently own the mineral rights, how does that play into these figures?
Sure. So just to kind of back up just a little bit. So this site was previously owned by a company called Nextera, and they had gone through a lot of the due diligence and entitlements necessary to put a solar project together. We structured a deal which this board approved, purchased this property in December of 2012 for about $31.5 million. That was the purchase price. And as part of that consideration, the entitlements and all the other things that came with a solar project came along with that. So to some extent, it was almost a large degree what they call sometimes a turnkey project, although that wasn't completely the case. Since that time, originally the department was considering different scenarios for developing that site, including doing it in-house, and then it was finally determined that they would go through a different process and bring out and put it out to the outside developers to come in and construct a solar project there, and that's what we did do. At that point, they put out an RFP, and they had 2 successful respondents who were developing 5 of those sites, 2 for Hecate, and I believe 3 for Sun Edison, if I'm not mistaken. So those costs that you mentioned, the $96 million is for the actual infrastructure for developing the property itself. And so it's not directly related to the cost of acquiring the site. Yeah, it had nothing to do with the real estate. So that was a little bit erroneous. I can understand how that's a little bit confusing. The other number has to do with the actual amount of monies that we offered for the mineral rights. Now, the gentleman mentioned that we had a geologist go in, and the geologists, in their opinion, we have had 2 different geologists, one from our outside consultants and one that we hired in-house for our appraisal, came back with absolutely no mineral rights of any value. And so the appraiser took that into account and then tried to come up with some sort of fair nominal values that we could use as consideration to folks that own those rights so that we could offer them something. We couldn't just offer them anything. But as a total consideration, at least based on the appraisal, the amounts that we came up with are about $120,000 in mineral rights. So it's a pretty nominal, pretty small amount. And so that's what we've offered out. Many of these interests in the mineral rights are fractional, literally less than 2% in some cases on these rights that we're acquiring. There's some that are much more significant. We own the surface, we own the land itself. It's just these mineral rights that we're trying to acquire so that we can secure and make sure that nobody's going to disturb the solar project, since it's going to be using the surface. And they're not going to be displaced once they build it and put it into place. So that's kind of the overall picture of what we're trying to accomplish. This is completely separate from any of the packages that you would have seen before for Barren Ridge. And those we were actually acquiring the land. In this case, we're not acquiring anything close to that.
Thank you, that's helpful.
Sure.
Questions, comments? Is there a motion? Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
You have your 4 votes.
Thank you.
Oh, Barbara, do you need a roll call?
Yes, that'd probably be better.
Okay,
So
call the roll.
Commissioner Levine,
Aye.
Commissioner Funderburg,
Aye.
Commissioner Noonan,
Aye.
Commissioner Fleming.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move to item 27, authorization to proceed with construction services for Phase 2 Headworks Reservoir West Package A of the Silver Lake Reservoir Complex Storage Replacement Project pursuant to agreement number 47071-2 with Rebcor Obayashi Lyles, a joint venture.
Good afternoon. Susan Rogani, Water Engineering and Technical Services. So this entire project is actually 4 phases. This is the second of the 4 phases. And the reason we're doing the project is to replace storage that we lose from Silver Lake and Ivanhoe, since they needed to be removed from service due to our water quality regulations. First phase was construction of the buried storage, which we call Headworks Reservoir East. That was 55 million gallons with associated tunnel. That facility is now in service. The second phase is for the second buried storage, which we need storage, additional storage and pipeline. Phase 2 has been broken up into 2 packages. Package A, which is now in front of you, would be for authorization to start work on the reservoir foundation. Package B, which we anticipate coming to you later this year, would be to start work on the actual second reservoir and associated pipeline.
Susan, maybe you can clarify. So this is, when we brought this to the board originally, it was one large project with a different delivery mechanism than we normally do because of the timing, but we're executing each phase individually. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And at the time when we came before the board initially, we said we would come before the board each time we executed a new phase. And so this is, since this is the start of the second phase, we're coming before the board to ask for the authorization. And this is a different delivery method. As Marty said, this is called construction manager at risk. So it's not a typical design bid build. So it's a little bit different delivery method.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, I remember approving this process. And if you could just confirm, for this next phase, are we on budget, over budget? How did phase 1 turn out?
Actually, phase 1 turned out very well. We have used about 5% of the contingency, so we are well within budget.
Okay, good.
And I might add, that includes, we had some unforeseen geotechnical conditions that the contractor had to deal with, changing requirements from the state. And so we were able to do that, and by being able to work together and adapt design, still able to stay within budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. It's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 28, energy cost adjustment expenditures for the 12-month period commencing July 1st, 2015.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. President Levine. Neil Guglielmo with the Financial Services Organization. I have Ben Trong with me. What you have before you today is the ECA, or Energy Cost Adjustment Factor Report, to 12-month look ahead. The ECAF, as we refer to it, and related charges provide approximately 44% of the total retail revenue for the power system. What you're going to see for this quarter that will begin July 1st is roughly a 24-cent per month decrease for a typical residential customer who's using approximately 500 kilowatt hours a month. So it's a decrease from the current quarter. The primary reason for the decreases that we have is a reduction in natural gas expenses, as well as some supply constraints regarding the biomethane. This is just a snapshot of the rates over the prior quarterly periods, and you'll see the reduction there from the 34.39 all-in rate for the last quarter to the 34.16 going forward. This is the really exciting stuff, which is the calculations that we like to look at on a daily basis, just the numbers and how those all break down for the various cost adjustment factors.
We'll memorize those.
Exactly. There's a test at the end. And natural gas prices, and you can see there that the gas prices are slightly below what we anticipated. And this is really one of the successes of having a pass-through adjustment factors that we can pass on those savings to our customers. And then this is just the composite structure that we have, the various variable energy adjustment factors, the capped factor, the incremental and the incremental base that comprise our current power rate structure. So not much change, just a slight decrease that we're going to see for the quarter going forward. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? Decreases are good.
We do enjoy those.
You need a motion, I take it.
Yes, please.
I so move. Those in favor?
Aye. Excuse me just a second. We just had a speaker card turned in for item 28. Oh, and he just stepped out.
Okay.
Do you want me to call?
Yeah, if it's for the current item, is the person in the room? Who is it?
Tut Hayes? Oh, I think
Okay.
he stepped out to talk to the...
The motion's approved. Thank you.
Oh, that's him right there.
Sir, did you want to say something on this item?
Yes, sir, I do.
Please go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to inform you of something you're already acquainted with, because the Brown Act points out that every member of the commission has to get a copy of the Brown Act. And one of the things the Brown Act requires, because everything you violate in the Brown Act is a misdemeanor, a crime, is that there must be a copy of all that paperwork and agenda stuff you've got before you available to the public at the meeting. Now, I'll come back and I'll recite that to you if you don't have a staff or a city council attorney to help you out with this. But you can't do stuff like this. You're one of the most sensitive agencies of our government we have. We like to know what is going on. And the state law allows us to. But apparently if you don't provide the information you have before you, you're violating the law. You're violating the law. And it's a misdemeanor. And ironically, when it talks about the crime of violating the Brown Act, it says that you simply attend a meeting while the violation occurs. Everyone in attendance, meaning the commissioners, are guilty of the crime. So they tar everyone with the same brush. So that's my complaint. I can't understand how you've gone this far without anyone pointing this out to you. And if they have you ignored it and you go on and do your criminal ways anyway? So anyway, this is my first time you'll see me again, because I really want to contest my power being cut off, okay? I got a threatening letter about cutting off my power. I want to contest that. But no one downstairs knows where you go to contest, argue, or have a hearing, or whatever, about getting your power terminated. So thank you for your time. I hope you'll adjust your ways, obey the law, and allow the public to see the intimate details of all that material you have before you. It's just paper. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 29. Estimated demand-side management, reclaimed water, water quality improvement, and water security expenditures for October 1st, 2015 to September 30th, 2016.
Good afternoon again. Neil Guglielmo with the Financial Services Organization, joined by Ben Trong. What you have before you is the 12-month look ahead now for the water quality, the water adjustment factors, I should say. That's the period October 1st, 2015 through September 30th, 2016. The water adjustment factors that require board approval are approximately 26% of our retail revenues. You can see in the pie chart there to the right, it's a little bit blurry, but you'll see the various components of that, the base rate, total all their pass-through charges, automatic pass-throughs, the purchase water as well. The purchase water, Owens Valley regulatory low-income subsidy expenditures make up roughly 44% in total of the retail revenues. What you have for this quarterly period going forward is a decrease of roughly 46 cents per HCF from Q1 of 15-16, which equates to roughly a $5.52 reduction for our typical residential customers who are using roughly 12 HCF on a monthly basis. The decrease is primarily attributable to our purchase water factor, and you'll see that with the conservation efforts, recognition of the Mayor's Executive Directive number 5, as well as the assumptions of normal hydrology within 16-17, we're going to see that decrease. That's the primary reasons for this decrease. There's also a slight decrease in the other factors. This is just a representation of our tiered structure, our Tier 1 and Tier 2. And you'll see within Tier 1 the base and all the various adjustment factors. Tier 2, however, you'll see the much larger base due to that the pass-through factors are embedded within the Tier 2 base, which is what we're experiencing, some of our base rate erosion there in Tier 2. This next representation just shows you those quarterly periods, and you'll see that that reduction of the 60.16 in the current period to the 54.64 for the projected period, which is before you today. And this is just a system average rate comparison that shows the cost with system average rate cost with the purchase water, which is that top red line, and then without the purchase water, which is that solid blue line down below as we look forward. And again, this is really the most exciting part of our presentation, and we'll be testing on this later, is the math associated with all the adjustment factors. And that's all we have for you, and we're happy to answer your questions.
Do that every week? Every other week?
Daily.
Only for us every other week.
Yes.
Questions? Comments? I move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
It was those numbers. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you very much. We move to filed items. Water system.
I have no additional comments on the report you received, unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Financial services.
No additional comments other than we're continuing to monitor water systems net income, and any items we need to bring to the board's attention for approval, we'll be doing that in the next few months.
Thank you. Questions? Power system.
The reports are in your binder, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions? Thank you. RPS project update.
Same thing, be happy to answer any questions you might have on that.
Questions? Thank you. Management report. John Ferraro Building turns LEED, celebrating 50 years.
Thank you. We have just a brief presentation to share some good news about this building. Get it up on the screen. So you may know that the John Ferraro Building is turning 50 this month. And about a year ago, we started the process to get this building LEED certified, so to certify it as a green building. So we're going to just give you a short presentation about a little bit of the history of the building and how we went forward with the LEED, asking for the LEED certification. And we got some great historical pictures from A.C. Martin, the architects who built this building. So we can move to the next slide. This is a picture of the lobby back in the day, and this is an important. This building is an important architectural asset in downtown Los Angeles, and in 2011 was placed on the registry as a Los Angeles historical cultural monument. You go to the next slide. This building was designed by A.C. Martin and built to symbolize water and power. At the time, it's supposed to resemble a power transformer. It has a reflecting pool with fountains, and when it was built as an all-electric building, and it was built to be very brightly illuminated at night and to stand out in the landscape of downtown Los Angeles. And it's still an all-electric building, including the cafeteria that uses electric appliances for food preparation. And I just would note there's a time capsule in the building, but we have to wait another 50 years to open the time capsule. So put that on your calendars. At the time when it was built, it was very efficient and very high-tech for its time, and kind of sustainable before sustainability was cool. Some of the features that were included in the building was connecting the reflecting pool and fountains so that they would dissipate about a third of the heat load of the air conditioning system, and all of the controls for the air conditioning, mechanical systems, and lighting were centralized into one sort of management data center, which I think for its time was unique. If we go to the next slide. This is, of course, one of the masterpieces of mid-century modern architecture. This is a 840,000 square feet, and it's a very popular feature in downtown Los Angeles, used a lot in filming and backdrops, and we see lots of people walking around the building with cameras. And it was really sort of noted at its time for its unique attributes. And we're not entirely sure whose office this is. We think this might be a commissioner's office, but somebody was using ashtrays at the time, so that's one feature that's changed since 1965. Go to the next slide. Just wanted to show you a little bit about the neighborhood at the time. At the time it was built, it was lonely there next to the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. And if we look south, you can see the skyline of downtown has changed a great deal, including the smog. Go to the next slide. If you see today, downtown has definitely changed, but this remains an important part of the downtown, important fixture of downtown architecture. And architects A.C. Martin still continue to work in downtown and to shape downtown. They're building, they're designing the new Korean Air Building on Wilshire and Figueroa. Go to the next slide. I'll just talk a little bit about the efficiency improvements really over the years, and that we've continued to use this building as a laboratory for energy efficiency and water conservation. This was one of the first buildings downtown to have solar panels that are out in the parking lot and electric vehicle charging, and we continue to install and test and practice the latest and innovative trends. So all the work that's been done really over the last 50 years, but particularly in the last decade, helped to motivate us to consider seeking LEED certification for this building. So we really were able to build on, in the LEED certification process, on much of the work that's already been done, but as the building was designed to stick out at night, to be kind of a lantern in the downtown skyline, that was one of the challenges, among the challenges in trying to get to the LEED certification. You go to the next slide. There's even inside the building, basically every ceiling panel in this building has a ballast for lights, and so the building has always been very brightly lit. And we've been working on that to improve the energy efficiency of this building. Go to the next slide. The LEED certification that we saw was really about how the building is operated, and so we did a lot of things, put a lot of things in place to make sure that we would both qualify for LEED certification, but also improve the operation and maintenance of this building to save water, to conserve energy, and to put sustainable practices in place. And a great team across the department helped to make this happen. We brought together a lot of folks that don't usually work together, and they did a great job. And I think it's given us this process has given us an opportunity to look even deeper into our operations and process and look for the areas for improvements. We go to the next slide. There's the team celebrating. We heard from U.S. Green Building Council, the Green Building Certification Institute, in May that we will receive the existing building operation and maintenance LEED certification. There was a terrific team in place, and wanted to particularly thank Craig Short, Irving Chow, and Maria Sasson for who were working on this, and our green team, our internal green team, that's pushing us to be more sustainable in our day-to-day operations. So it also helps us to be an example to our customers of what you can do even in a 50-year-old building. On June 24th, we'll celebrate the John Ferraro Building's 50th anniversary and also celebrate the LEED certification with the speakers from architectural community and city family and past and present DDP employees, and we'll have the CEO of the U.S. Green Building Council here to help present the award, as well as Chris Martin, the CEO of AC Martin, our architects. And then we'll also be the first building in Los Angeles to get the LEED dynamic plaque, which is, if you've seen the LEED plaques, they're a nice metal plaque, but this is one that looks at the monitors the operation of the building. It's been called a Fitbit for buildings, and so it's a sort of a digital scoreboard that helps to show the latest scores in all of the performance categories. And a number of other buildings have been certified LEED, existing building operation and maintenance. Most of them are newer, I think with the exception of the Pac Mutual building. But we joined a number of other structures downtown, and the first of the mid-century buildings downtown to receive this. We have additional opportunities, and we'll continue to work to innovate in this building to make it more sustainable, looking at the cafeteria, at how we deal with waste, at purchasing, lighting, at potentially a microgrid project, in collaboration also with the Clean Tech Incubator and the Lucretz Innovation Campus, and improvements in the reflecting pool. We think there's some great opportunities as we continue to test and install the latest in energy efficiency and water conservation technology. So happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Comments?
I have a couple of questions. Commissioner Fleming and I served on the board of the convention center together, and I remember DWP was instrumental in getting the convention center LEED certified, and this was at least 6 years ago. So out of curiosity, why has it taken us so long? Was it a matter of expenditures? Did we receive any federal rebates or incentives to become LEED certified? And are our goals targeted to going for a higher level of LEED, like gold?
So I think this building is quite a bit older than the convention center, and the kind of LEED certification that we were going for, I think, is appropriate for a building of this age, to really look at the processes inside the building as opposed to sort of physical changes to the building. So these are, as I said, mostly process changes in how we deal with waste, with sustainable purchasing, and just generally how the building is run. So that was at I believe, little to no additional cost. It's just a number of different things that we need to put in place in terms of processes to do that. And we are evaluating what we can do additionally to seek a higher LEED certification, including doing some additional things with lighting, as I mentioned, microgrid project, and some other things that we think will all continue to improve the operation of this building.
Were we able to receive any rebates or federal monies for the
Not
certification?
that I'm aware of, but I'll check and
I'm just curious.
get back to you.
Other questions or comments?
I want to thank you, particularly Nancy. I mean, you've only been here for 12 months, and you're carrying a lot of balls across the finish line here, and your leadership and your good work together with everybody else. Maria in particular, I know I've worked with on green team stuff and been to green team events, and I want to thank the support that DWP employees have provided you, because I know you've gotten a lot of volunteer time from our own employees to help make this happen and help make the agency a symbol and leader of sustainability.
Thank you. And I think just to recognize that this was really a team effort, and particularly to the folks who run this building have really looked for those opportunities to improve the operation of this building, and we've got lots of great ideas going forward on how we can continue to work on that. And I think across the department, a lot of enthusiasm for making sure that we're sort of walking the talk and leading by example. Thank you.
My only question is, looking at how our team was able to jump, are they going to take on the Lakers and the Clippers?
Yeah, well, it's a good action shot, and they were pretty happy. So
it was clear. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Counsel?
Yes, sir. The board shall report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention of every member present thereon in accordance with Section 54957.1 of the California Government Code.
Thank you.